How's it going, guys? Welcome back. We are here one more time, live again for Sim Racing 604 GT3 Split number 2, Season 5, Spring League. That's a lot to say, but I am back once more to watch another round of amazing racing. We are here in the rainy and beautiful Snetterton, home of the fabulous Nick Gass. Nick, are you there?
Why, yes, I am. How's it going, Gerson? I'm actually filling in for Giancarlo tonight. Giancarlo is actually out with his family and may be joining us a little later. But today we're here at Snetterton, round 5 of the Sim Racing 604 GT3 League, Split 2. We are currently watching a wet race today. It's quite damp out there. We are looking at about 30 minutes of at least pure rain. At least the drivers are. I'm not. I'm actually right here warm in my home here in Snetterton. We got about 23 Celsius out there in air and about 28 degrees on track. So it's looking to be quite slippery and quite fun.
Yeah, for sure. We've been watching these guys all throughout practice, and I think we've seen very unexpected results tonight, honestly. A lot of what we've come to know as our usual, or I guess just the board as we know it, has changed. But what hasn't changed so far are our driver standings. So let's go ahead and move on to that. And so at the moment right now, we have Carter Close leading so far this championship with 302 points, which honestly, keep an eye out because that might change tonight. I don't know how well he's been doing, but he qualified P9, so it's going to be tough for Mr. Universe to be able to keep that lead. Trevor stayed P2 right behind him. Jonathan Corco not giving up that spot. Clark Muller, who will be absent tonight. It's going to be a tough one for him to come back, as well as Jeffrey Bray. Those 4th and 5th slots are going to open up a lot to Mike Lattis and Alex Gomez, although Alex Gomez did have a tough time tonight, so we're going to see where that comes out. Leonard Cachola looking at himself, running in P8, followed by Rob Ruggiero, Ed Berger, Brett Oriovan, who will we not see tonight. Nick Gatto absent as well. I think the rain really scared these guys out tonight. Mark Keown rounding us out in the P13. Christian Michelli and Justin G, our current pole sitter for the night.
Yeah, looking at the page 2, we've got Max Graf, Casper Minder, Nicholas Lemon, Brevin Yeski, Davin Sturdivant, who is absent tonight, and he'll be absent next weekend or next week as well, simply because he wants to appease the wife, if I'm reading that correctly. We got Garrett Humphrey following up with him in the NSX, Conrad Abbott, Conrad Downtown Abbott, Brian Flaherty and Adam Baker, Thomas Knudsen, Martin Wilmington, John Penders, Mike Lewis, Bruce Hopkins, and Nick Green.
And coming in 31, we have Marcus Zyman, who, interestingly enough, is running in that second spot tonight, right along Justin G. So we're going to see him climb up this leaderboard quite a lot if he has a good race. Followed by him is Michael Sika. In 33, it's Ezekiel Espindola, followed by Kai Berman, Corey Robbins, Louis Lebeau, Doug Gatto, Brian Burton, Denny Locke coming in 39, rounding us out and missing tonight, unfortunately, Zenny Glenondidi. 41, DeMarcus Rogers. And then so far we have our couple of no-shows for this season, Thomas Jelinek, Bruno Bellany, and Patrick Wright. Unfortunately, I don't think we've seen them tonight, so that might mean that that is it for them for the season. But that's going to round out the championship so far as we've seen it. And as we still got a little bit of time, let's look at the timetable. So Justin G and Marcus Zyman are, I think, one of the most interesting so far that we see tonight in the top 3, as so far in the championship, they're ranked pretty low, but I think this is going to change tonight. This is going to be their race, especially with Carter, Corkle, and so far Bray and Muller sitting out tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race, especially with Zyman. Zyman, apparently from the chat, he was actually up 3/10. So that would actually put him over Justin for that top spot for pole. And then we've got Latsis, Stade, Gomez, and Ruggiero, all who are about two or 3/10 within each other. So it's quite a close gap up front. And I think Zyman has probably put the most amount of practice in the track tonight for the race. And so I'm really expecting good things from him. Hopefully he can keep the car from under them. It's quite slippery out there. As we see them go green, we are here racing at Snetterton on round 5. We've got Guy pulling ahead quite far as Zayman is actually pulling back a little bit, and Latsis came in into second.
Yeah, it's an interesting start so far. It looks like they've let Guy really take the lead on this one.
Yeah, Guy is proven to be very fast, so we're really looking for consistency throughout most of the race.
I think the rain has really done a great job of calming down the drivers. I think this is the most relaxed start we've seen all season so far.
Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit of a bunch up back through 16th position, right with Mark Keown. We got some racing back there, but let's see how this pans out as they go through lap 1. I think everybody's just afraid of actually making contact and knocking themselves out.
Definitely. Kai Berman making a lot of room for Mark Keown and Brian Flaherty. Looking at the lead, Justin G so far. Honestly, I think he took a lesson from... Who was our race leader last time? Was it Carter Close up front?
I believe it was Bray. No, it was Mola. Oh, no, it was Bray. It was Jeffrey Bray who started, and then he got a drive-through penalty at the start of Nürburgring.
Correct. So far, Cutter Close there, right behind Rob Ruggiero, living up to his name, Too Close, although the gap is widening a bit. It's quite... Oh, we see a little bit of oversteer there from Alex Gomez, missing out 2 positions. That's quite unfortunate for Alex Gomez as we come to the end of the first lap.
Looking back through the field, we're not seeing too much action. I think everybody's really playing it safe for these first couple of laps and really just trying to find their pace. We're seeing a lot of struggling for traction near the back of the pack. Mark Keown has dropped from his 16th position down to about 19th, so we're seeing just a lot of struggles.
Yeah, speaking of struggle, Alex Gomez and Rob Ruggiero are feeling the pressure as they're feeling it from behind on Casper Minda and Jonathan Corkle up front. And it looks like we have 2 cars going side by side. We have Christopher Smith. It looks like he was pushed out a little out there, stuck in between the 2 Lexuses of Corey Robbins and Christian Michelli. It looks like Thomas Knudsen was involved in the fight as well. No contact so far, so that makes great racing, although they are very close as we see them come into the corner. So far, Clarence Smith, great job. First event so far this season. I think he's going to bring the fight to the Lexus Bros here, which are not the original Lexus Bros. Let's be clear on that.
Now, the original Lexus Bros were Davin Sturtevant and Jonathan Corkle, who are not running the Lexus this season, but we may see a return of that in the future. We hope so. It's always good to see them. I do hear ruminations of actually the Lamb Bros maybe making an appearance here in one of the seasons.
We've yet to see consistently more than one. Trevor Stade. Talking about consistency, there it is, Mr. Stade. It's going to cost him big tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's dropping quickly from his 4th position and now near the back of the pack, pulling out in front of Michael Sika. Not exactly
and
as we
Lucas
see
Saw.
Newcomer Lucas Saw pulling a wide drifty boy right there in the grass.
We're going to have to go back and watch that. I think that was a Martin Warmington moment for sure. And as we wait for Nicholas Gaz to get that all set up for us, so far, Justin G doing a great job of leading this race. Consistent, and honestly, nobody's really challenged him, so it's hard to say how much work he's having to put up to stay in the front. Marcus Zaman, though, great job catching up and just getting a lot of space from, as I've seen in chat, Mike, I almost called him Hot Dog, Mike Mad Dog Latsis. Let's see if the Mad Dog is able to bring the fight. I think this is probably the most competitive we've seen him so far. And I do believe Mike Gaz has something in store for us. So let's find out what he's got.
So it looks like he was just a little too late on the brakes. I'm not sure if you're actually able to see that. Does it look like you're able to see it? So we'll have to come back to that a little bit later. Maybe we can pick that up on a highlight.
Yeah, we just have to return to that. Sorry, guys, technical difficulties. Although looking at Mike Hot dog. I'm sorry. That's how it is now. It's not Mad Dog. It's Hot Dog. Thanks a lot, chat person. But Zyman has bridged the gap to G. That's quite interesting. Last we saw him, he was pretty far back. Do you think Latsis is gonna not like that we're calling him Mike Hot Dog Latsis?
No, I don't think anybody appreciates being called hot dog except hot dogs.
Hey, you know what? They're delicious. Oh man, these no buns. Shame.
Now, I think the quibble is that actually are hot dogs sandwiches?
I thought you were going back to the racing there for a moment. You know what? I say yes. I think it's a variation of a sandwich.
Now, chat, what do you think? Are hot dog sandwiches or not?
Speaking
As
about
we talk
sandwiches,
about food, I was just about to say we have Nick Lemon,
yeah,
who is actually following Alex Gomez and creating quite a sandwich of a situation. With some really late braking by Gomez, who's going quite off track, so he's probably going to lose out a couple of positions here as Corey Robbins passes him, and Tom Knudsen, who is getting sideways just off the turn, getting into... These guys cannot get straight.
Oh no. Oh no.
They cannot get straight. It is absolutely hectic out there. It's chaos with those tires and the slippery conditions.
I think this is one of the worst moments whenever it's just the worst moment on track, and out of everything it was captured. So Thomas, buddy, thank you. Great content.
Not a lot going out on track right now for position, just a lot of off tracks, and we're seeing just quite a bit of people getting sideways. As I put my camera on Tom Knudsen, who Mark Warmington got really sideways and is now off track, and I think he might be returning to pits.
Oh no, that's a shame for Warmington.
Oh, looks like he's able to back up.
And I think it's time that we head downtown and visit Mr. Abbott.
Abbott, who's been chased down by Lucas Saw, who we saw previously going quite wide on a turn, who is being chased quite closely. That's a bit close for these conditions, I would say, especially coming into hard braking.
Ooh. He kept it under control, which done a great job. It almost looked like Lucas Saw moved towards the inside to defend early. That definitely broke the toe that Conrad Abbott had, making that move a lot more difficult than it needed to be. I don't think Conrad is finding his line. I think he's a little disoriented from Lucas's defending. I don't know if he's going to be able to find his line to bridge that gap as close as he was.
As they come through Coram and Murray's corner, they're now on the center straight, as they like to call it. Let's see if we can actually catch up to Lucas Saw.
And it looks like Ruggiero has pitted. That's a very early pit stop. I would assume that's indicating some form of damage. Lucas Saw is going to have to let him by. That's
Lucas Saw actually going into the wall. That's not what you want out here.
Speaking of not what you want, I believe this is a picture that Zyman is dreading at the moment, seeing G almost 1.7 seconds north of him. That's going to be a tough battle for him to reclaim after we saw him pretty close, enough to make a pass earlier, but Justin G's a master in the rain from what I can see.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, Carter Close is doing a perfectly fine job, not going off track or being caught up in too much chaos. He's running now 4th position with 1 second back from Latsis. And ahead of Latsis is Zyman, who's running about 3 seconds in front of Latsis.
Unfortunately, I think tonight his name is Carter Not Close Enough. That podium spot is getting further away from him. I think it's time, Nick, that we spin the wheel of misfortune. Which driver should it be tonight?
I'm actually going to
I
choose Kai
accidental
Berman.
click. Let's move. Let's see. Where is Berman? 16. Oh, man. Commentator's curse, guys. Will he make it out alive?
Can he make it? He's been running a pretty clean race. He nearly got caught up in the Thomas Knudsen incident earlier, but was able to pass him with a clean line. So we're looking for some clean racing from them. Everybody trying to stay off all of the curbs. The curbs are absolutely treacherous in this rain.
Yeah, I think as my good friend Roman Cousteau would say, the Cubs are absolute ass tonight. I just can't believe how much shit we're gonna have to see happen. And honestly, we're not seeing nothing happen tonight. So it's going to be very difficult, honestly, to find any sort of excitement. But talking about difficult, someone not having a good time tonight, Casper Minda, drive-through penalty. That's unfortunate for the Lego man. It's not looking good for him tonight.
No, it is not. And as we saw him going wide, he's just having quite a bit of trouble, keeping it on track. And I'm not sure if that was a racing incident that caused that drive-through penalty, or if it was actually Casper who incurred it by being so much off track.
Good effort tonight by Leonard Cachola, P9. That's a fantastic drive by him. Although I'm pretty sure Jonathan Corco, a.k.a. the real Cousteau, is not having any bit of it. As he lunges down, he's going to have to brake a lot. It's Cachola doing a great job of keeping his line as we look at Casper Minda going wide on the final turn. Porsche definitely carrying a lot more speed down the main straight. Jonathan Corco, it's a shame to see him so far back tonight, but great matchup so far.
And it looks like you might be stuck on Cachola there. Corkle really hunting down Cachola. I think he's just got the better straight line speed and holding the momentum through those corners with that McLaren. But Cachola looks pretty competent going through all the corners with the Porsche. You'd think with all that rear weight that it would actually be a little more planted, especially being on throttle. But we're seeing quite a little bit of oversteer as he comes out of those corners, which allows Corkle just a little bit to catch up. On the timing board, it shows about half a second, but half a second seems like not a lot of time at all. As we see Corkle running a little bit wide and letting Cachola run away a little bit.
Yeah, currently off the screen there, I just saw Martin Wormington just completely go off track, and he's back in the pit, so that might be a DNF for Wormington tonight.
And it looks like Giancarlo is actually back from his trip with the family, so I'm going to hand over the reins to him, and he'll be taking over the rest of the commentary duties. Welcome, Giancarlo. Hey guys, thanks you so much. I'm so sorry for being late. Thank you, Nick Gass, for following up that stream for me. I'm happy to be here, so thank you for doing that.
I don't know why he's allowed to come in late. I was here the whole time. I tried to fill in. Why does Nick get to fill in for him? It's not fair.
It's because you're a special case. Special case for me.
Let me know in chat if you want to see more of Roman Cousteau, because this is unfair treatment to the French people. I believe that I deserve to be here as well, but sorry guys, our friend there got cut off. We're just gonna have to wait for him to calm down a little bit. He's not too happy tonight. And talking about not too happy, although I'm sure this man is happy, Justin G, great job so far. It looks like he's getting a little inconsistent. We saw him get those tires a little off track. Honestly, it might be following Rob Ruggiero. Rob Ruggiero as a back marker, unfortunately, we saw him have to pit very early. But I don't think that Rob is slow enough to move out of the way. We saw him qualify in P3. So it's going to be a tough one, I think, for Justin to get around him if Rob doesn't allow him to make the move.
Yeah, it's really tough when you're running in the back marker space and you've got such a lead that you don't want to cause an incident, especially in the rain. That running behind them is you got to brake a little earlier. You got to as we see G going sideways, not able to keep it through a sweeping corner. That's going to allow Zyman and Latsis to pass right on by.
And there goes Close as well.
Corkle. Carter, sorry.
I think you have the Frenchman in mind.
I absolutely do. But man, what a turnaround, no pun intended, for Justin G there.
Definitely, that is gutting to see, but after
maybe we've got some sort of commentator's curse coming down from the rain.
It's possible. I think we've done that many times this season. Oh no, there is more of it. Mark Keown. That was not for position, but it's tough. It's tough. Maybe we shouldn't have kicked the French guy out.
As talking about getting kicked out, Kai Berman, who's running in 14th position, does have a 5-second penalty. We'll go ahead and follow up with our pit reporting and see why that was incurred. Probably from lap 1 or lap 2 contact.
Yes, well, I'm in the pit right now, and I'm looking at Jonathan Corkle. It's very rainy out here. Honestly, I think it's discrimination at this point that I got kicked out of the booth to be out here in the rain, soaking wet. My baguette is so wet, I can't eat it anymore. But Thomas Knudsen coming into the pit as well. Unfortunately, I was talking to the pit wall, and it looks like Martin Warmington, that is a DNF for the night. But hopefully that we're going to see him again for Spa one more time. But that's it for me from the pit wall.
And looks like that 5-second penalty to Berman was for avoidable contact on lap 4 between him and car 23. So car 44 of Berman unfortunately contacted Michael Sika, which he's not running too far behind, but that's going to put him quite a bit back after he starts serving that penalty.
Yeah, and talking about being quite a bit back, Carter Close finally moving up into that P3 spot, but he's quite a ways away from Mike Mad Dog Latsis, and I think that Justin G is not going to let this one go so quickly.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see them go side by side and actually maybe pull that position with Stade now back in 10th position. That's a kind of a herring for the championship points, but we still have yet to see the pit strategy happen. So we'll see when everything shakes out there what the runnings might be. We're seeing Stade, or actually, sorry, we're on board with Justin G, who is running down Carter Close, and it looks like he is able to pull in within that second barrier, pulling into the draft, hopefully, to get in some of that rain. Luckily, they have backwash obscuring their vision. As he gets in very, very close under braking with
Zyman.
Who was that? Looks like Zyman is off track.
Oh, that just lost about 3 positions.
Carter Close and Latsis losing out. Oh man, that is just unfortunate for Zyman.
Well, there you have it, guys. Mike Mad Dog Latsis, P1 for the moment.
And it looks like we do have a penalty on Corkle, which is really unfortunate. We have a lap 4 avoidable contact penalty between the 802 and the number 2 car, which is Corkle. So
yeah,
that's
that would have been with
disappointing. Yeah. So a bit of contact and a bit of rain, and the rain is just not making it any better.
Someone who I think is not making it any better tonight, Rob Ruggiero. Great job of leading the pack. Almost, I don't mean to say this in the term of speed, but almost leading as a pace car so far. He's consistently staying in front of that P1 slot. So he's doing a great job of being consistent, but unfortunately from that far back, I don't know if he's going to be able to pull off this amazing undercut that we're going to probably see here.
I think you got your names mixed up. You're talking about Ruggiero, but you really meant Latsis, who's running in the pole position.
Oh no! I'm looking at Latsis, but I'm talking about Ruggiero.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. I was looking at Ruggiero somewhat ahead of on camera. So I probably should have switched that. Pardon, guys, that was probably confusing. But yeah,
As
Ruggiero.
we saw earlier, Ruggiero was running pretty fast. He wasn't, he did start, I think, and qualify at 6th position.
Third, I think.
Third, actually. Nope, it was 6th position. Just behind Gomez.
Still fast for Ruggiero, especially in the wet.
Yeah, if you guys have not driven in the wet and you race ACC, not only is Snetterton one of the most disliked tracks. Sorry, Nick. I know you love Snetterton. It's your hometown. But it is one of the most reviled tracks within the lineup of ACC. When you throw in the rain, it's probably one of the worst, if not the worst.
How would you rank it against Paul Ricard?
I would actually prefer Paul Ricard.
Even in the wet?
Even in the wet.
That's a statement.
And I'll tell you why, because the runoffs of Paul Ricard do not cause you to spin.
I hate both, so.
I mean, I've got not a lot of love for Paul Ricard, but I would put it ahead of Snetterton at this point for myself. As we're talking about some roughness, Zyman is actually pulling into the pits. And looks like he is joined by Lucas Saw and Martin Warmington, both in pits as well. Warmington probably, I think, DNF'd, which means he won't be returning out on track. Lucas Saw probably, I think, was from damage, so he is now pulling out. But Zyman and Cachola now following Zyman back into the pits. Maybe this is the early pit stop.
I think this is Rob Ruggiero's chance to make up those positions as he's about to cross on the final turn. So far, it's been a great stint for Ruggiero post pit. As we find out how many positions he's able to gain, we're really about to see. He's about to reveal to us how consistent he actually has been.
I'm talking about consistency. Kai Berman still out on track, consistently lapping, even though he's got that 5-second penalty. Will he serve it, or is he going to suffer the wrath of the stewards?
Now, interesting fact, we do have live stewarding, and last night, for the first time, we did see a driver have to give up his penalty on track to avoid any post-race penalties. So I don't know if we might see that. So far, I don't think it's justified here, as that one was a potential push to pass, as Rob Ruggiero comes right in front of Michael Sika.
And that's simply because Mike Latsis is now in pits, followed by Carter Close.
Oh, I don't know what Mr. Universe is doing there. It looks like he's a little lost trying to find his pit box. And our 3 race leaders are currently in the pits, promoting Alex Gomez now into that first position.
I don't think this is too early. We've got about 20 minutes left in the race, so I think they're right about the halfway point of when they needed to pit. Early? I'm not sure if it would be early. But Latsis now pulling out of pits.
I don't believe we've heard the halfway comment just yet. Although I think by this point we should have.
We've got Carter Close. If we can get the cameras on Carter Close, he's actually leading out of the pits. So I don't know if he's short fueled or he didn't take tires or what, but he is leading about 1.5 seconds to Latsis, who is followed by Justin G.
Yeah, Justin looks very impatient out of the pits. Not finding any room there. Mad Dog definitely mad dogging it.
Is Mad Dog going to have a dogfight on his hands, and if he is, that's going to allow Carter Close to run away, which puts Carter Close currently as your race. Oh, we got a re-entry on track.
Well, that is Lucas. That's
not
going to
having a
hold
good
up
race
Simon.
You see Lucas Saw getting a little wobbly out of that exit.
And Justin G got around Mad Dog.
This might be one of those situations where he's like, look, you can go. I don't need the position that bad. I don't want to end my race, so go ahead and just take it. Hunt down Carter Close. Let him, if he can catch up to Carter Close and they start fighting, that'll allow Latsis to pull up and make it a three-way battle.
Yeah, and it looks like Alex Gomez is in the pits, so this will allow them to get one more move up. And it looks like Carter Close cutting the lawn there. I think he's taking a few tips there from Bottas, unfortunately. This is going to allow G to catch up.
And speaking of catching up, we got Trevor Stade, who is running in the first position. He has not made his pits yet. Alex Gomez who is currently third, is in pits and now running down the ladder as the leaders run by him. With oh my gosh, who is this? Corey Smith.
Clarence,
sorry. Clarence Smith, who is running second, but he also has not pitted. So your current tentative race leader after pits would be Carter Close, unless G can get by him, which looks like he might just about have another lap or two before that happens.
Justin, great job staying close on close. I love saying that. I had to pause.
It looks like we got 10th place position and 11th place positions in the pits. Kai Berman serving his 5-second penalty, with Corkle still out on track and not serving his quite yet, unless he incurred a second one, which I didn't see. But that will drop Kai Berman and Casper Minda down the ladder as they remain in pits.
And here comes Justin G about to make a great pass. Oh no, what are they doing? Why are they cutting away? Why are we on Berman? Haha, it is me, the Frenchman. I pulled the stroll on you. Okay, we come back now. I'm sorry, guys. I think he watches too much Formula One. It's
Roman,
the show
you need to
everyone.
stay in the pits. We are trying to do some work here and make sure we've got an entertaining broadcast for everyone.
Honestly, I'm glad he cut it when he did, because here it comes Justin G. It's almost like he heard it. He's getting a little squirrely behind Carter Close. A lot of oversteer.
Very squirrely. If we could get the onboard of G, and looks like Latsis is pulling in close behind. So as I was talking about earlier, Latsis, with these two trying to battle it out, trying to late break and get through these corners, take every inch they can, they're actually slowing themselves down.
Yeah, you can see the overbraking from Carter. Carried too much speed and just definitely hit the brakes too late, as we see it one more time.
Just nearly parking it. That's slowing G down because he's, falling a little bit too close, not able to take a wider line. He want to take that dry line as much as he can in the rain. I don't want to go away too much, but I'm looking back at a three-way battle between Brian Flaherty, Casper Minda, and Thomas Nusson, who are running the 16th, 17th, and 18th position. Casper Minda leading the pack in that.
I
Looks like
believe
he's
it's
going
Kai
to
Berman.
commentator's curse.
Casper Minda running away with it so far.
Yeah, they were able to get that. Sure what code is that? Kai Berman getting a little bit loose, causing a breakup of that little battle.
Brian Flaherty getting aggressive on him.
Taking that
Look at
inside
him.
line as they
Going
come
side by side.
down the Senna straight for the start finish. That's going to be a hard right, or not hard, but fairly sweeping right turn. But you want to be careful because that is a sweeping turn. And if you're not on the dry line, you're going to be taking a spin into the grass.
That was a nice little bump there, but for Knudsen, it almost got pretty tough. And it looks like Zayman is doing some crazy moves. I don't know why Mike Latsis is in the pits for a drive-through.
Looks like Latsis had avoidable contact on lap 13 involving cars 9 and 52. So Latsis is the 52 and the 9 is Mark Keown. So unfortunately, he did have some contact with Keown, giving Mad Max his drive-through penalty.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Running into a lapped car, but you just got to use the max amount of caution. And there it is, guys. We have him back on pole. Justin G. Marcus Zyman pulling ahead of Carter Close. So it looks like not only...
He's just having a tough time in the rain of defending against this. It's just not the best of times out there.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate there. I do pardon our French commentator pulling us away from the action. Hard to say what might have happened to Carter. We're going to have to come back to lap 15. Let's remember that, or previously around lap 15, and find out what happened in the post-race show with Justin G and Carter Close. And now, I know they're not racing, but don't you just love seeing Leonard Cachola? I got excited there for a second. I saw a C in the leaderboard, and I thought it was him, but unfortunately, Leonard tonight in 23, not so lucky for him. I looked at the board for a second, and I saw a C in 3, and I got too happy there. I thought, Leonard, what did you do, my man? Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him tonight.
And unfortunately, Thomas Knudsen is also going to incur an avoidable contact penalty of 5 seconds between him and the 44, which was, sounds like the 44 is just getting all sorts of contact tonight. And that's Kai Berman. So there's a little bit of argy-bargy between those two tonight.
You think it's any sort of coincidence that those two we just spoke of happen to be in Porsches?
You know, if they were in BMWs, I would agree with you. But for the most part, I've seen Porsches just, you know, run fairly clean for the most part when I've done.
So it seems like in chat we have a message there that Close has a bit of damage on his front splitter. It does look like he's carrying a lot of front end damage. So what do you think as far as how much that's affecting his pace so far?
You know, if his driving, if it affected his suspension at all, and he's, you know, got loss of toe or anything like that, that can be really hard for your entry speeds. You know, under braking, you're going to start kind of weaving a little bit, and that's not what you want. You want to keep it stable under braking, be able to turn in when you want to turn in, and just having any sort of damage up front is you know, just as bad as having damage in the rear. It's not what you want, and it can make everything that much tougher.
You know what? It's been tough, not only for everyone out here, but I think specifically Rob Ruggiero, to see him with this massive undercut into P9, 3 spots away from his starting position. I think he's shown mad consistency so far.
That is the stuff of legends right there. He was able to pull out a pit strategy and just weave through all of the traffic and all of the problems that these other guys are starting to incur from the chaos of the rain and run a fairly good race. You know, as much as it is, he's running 3 positions down from where he started. Having that consistency to run back up is a testament to driver skill.
Honestly, from last place, I never would have expected it, but if anybody pulled it off, it's Rob Ruggiero tonight.
And speaking of pulling it off, Justin G back in the first place position with Zyman's about 10 seconds back. And it looks like we got another, we got some more drive-through penalties and another 5-second penalty.
Was that Christian Michelli I saw? There he is in the wall.
That's unfortunate for Christian Michelli, who hits that curb and promptly sends it a little bit sideways through the corner, as we have, I think that was, I'm not sure who that was that came up behind him.
You know, I'm just happy that I was able to look at your screen really quickly to see that moment.
Oh, I think that was Trevor. That was Trevor Stade who had just passed him as he came through.
You know what? We haven't talked much about him, but Stade, I believe he's done a great job of coming back up as well.
Yeah, having that early spin, which I think was on lap 1 or 2, sending him down the field. He did qualify for third. I believe that's where he qualified. Check that 1 second. He qualified fourth, so just behind Latsis. So, you know, pulling it again, like, you know, just like Ruggiero, three laps down, able to pull it through with pit stops and everything else, and all the chaos that's going on in the front and in the back, and keeping a fairly clean race and keeping it together. Applause, my man. Applause.
Unfortunately, someone not keeping it together tonight, Casper Minda. From the looks of that front bumper, that's a crooked smile if I've ever seen one. It almost looked like his
smile with that paint scheme.
Forced, maybe. I'm sure his pit crew did not have fun zip tying that back on. That it's a terrible run.
It's a bit like a Fight Club victim who is forced to smile.
Don't forget, rule number 1, we don't talk about that. Talking about not talking about it, I think Kai Berman is not going to want to talk about that move. Failed attempt there to get around Casper Minda. Honestly, though, I'm kind of glad he pulled out. That could have been worse, and a lot of those zip ties would have popped out there for Minda.
Somebody we haven't had a lot of screen time with is actually Graf, who's able to pull up into third, ahead of Carter Close, and he's, you know, running a fairly clean race.
Actually, looking out back from Graf, Close coming up on Latsis. Graf has done a great job coming up slowly and steadily. I think another consistent driver so far, probably one of the last of the wet drivers, if that's even a term. I'm going to coin it. But I don't know how long he's going to be able to keep it if Close is able to get around Mad Dog.
Yeah, I don't think that maybe Carter has able to find his footing with the car and, you know, able to get it where he needs it. But Graf worked his way up into third. Latsis now about 7 seconds back. Or 5 seconds back from Graf. So I'm not sure if maybe Latsis is just starting to run a little slower than he wanted to, or if Carter is the one who's doing the catch-up.
Yeah, I think Carter is definitely getting closer and closer. Wink, wink. Honestly, I can't recover from those every time I do them because I smile. But I think there might be some damage on that Ferrari because you can definitely see Carter make up a lot of distance into the braking zone. Although coming off exit, the Ferrari just loses him.
Yeah, he's definitely got a little bit more exit speed than Carter, and Carter is catching up in the braking. Maybe he's braking a little bit too hard as he comes into there, and just carrying a little bit more momentum, especially with McLaren, might do him a little bit better. But it's so hard in the rain. You know, you don't want to hit any of these curbs. You want to try to use as much track as you can, but that wet and dry line is just treacherous. As we are about 5 minutes in, or 5 minutes left in the race, and we still have no dry spots in the predictive from the meteorologists.
I want to go back one more time here with Corkle, who unfortunately is somewhat in no man's land tonight.
Yeah, Corkle running 10th, and he's still, at least from my screen, it still looks like he still has to serve a 5-second penalty. I'm not sure if that's a new one that he incurred and we missed it, or if it's the same one. I would imagine if it's the same one, that he's got to come in at some point, and you don't want to leave that till the very end.
Yeah, talking about not leaving things to the very end. Downtown Abbott not making enough to get around Corey Robbins. He's now going to have to get around, let Corkle go by. Tough race for Conrad. I don't believe we saw him qualify solo.
Yeah, Downtown Abbott now just, running it clean. Maybe not a lot of experience in the rain. And, we do have some new drivers who have never raced in the rain this season. And he just might be one of those.
Yeah, unfortunately for Corey Robbins, he probably might be in that lineup having a little bit of trouble, but doing a great job of keeping his position within the top 10. So I do want to take that slightly back. I do think that he has shown great driving. Talking about great driving, Nicholas Lemon having to get out of the way. Very tough position as Corkle and Robbins race for position. Let's find out how well Corkle is able to bring the fight to Robbins. Oh, that's pretty
goes
cheeky.
to the inside with a deep braking, hoping not to contact and get another drive-through penalty. Unfortunately, even if he does make this position, he's still going to have to pit. So, Corkle,
Actually, with those 5
may
seconds,
all be for naught.
I think he could carry it to the end, but you're right. He will lose out that position indefinitely. So it's almost dangerous to attempt the move.
Yeah, he does want to extend his time. So even if he does lose that position, or if he does take that position, he doesn't want to lose out to Sika as well, who is about 10 seconds back.
And honestly, Ruggiero now coming up another position into P8. He's 2 spots away from his qualifier. I mean, this man's on a roll tonight. I believe we have not seen any sort of contact or penalty with Ruggiero. So, fantastic job. I think he's our driver of the day for sure.
Absolutely. If he can make up one more position, he's not too far down from where he was. Unfortunately, that position would be Trevor Stade, who is running in 7th, and Ruggiero is about 15 seconds back. So, or about 20 seconds back, actually.
Yeah, I think if anything, Ruggiero is hoping for a miracle here with Gomez and Stade to almost take themselves out into a braking zone for him to catch up. Although I don't see that happening, as the gap between Stade and Gomez is pretty wide.
Yeah, Alex Gomez, a newcomer this season, goes very wide, getting a little bit into the grass, allowing Stade to catch up, and he goes off track, which allows Stade to just run right by him. And Gomez, I'm not sure if that's maybe the pressure of Stade behind him, which was causing him to miss his braking points, or if, maybe he was just starting to lose traction and didn't take tires during pits.
Unfortunately, Ruggiero was not close enough to close that gap. So it might be P7 for Gomez after all, as Justin G is now on the final lap. With 9 seconds ahead of Zyman, I don't think anything can stand in this man's way from that podium spot.
Absolutely not. But I am looking back at Max Graf, who is
stuck in some traffic.
Yeah, he's a little bit of traffic trouble here as he was running behind Leonard Cacciola.
If you look slightly back, you can see Mr. Universe on the prowl.
Yeah, so Carter Close wanting him to get caught up in all that traffic so he can possibly make the position. but he's got to keep it clean himself, which has been proving fairly difficult. Although he was able to get around Latsis, although Carter Close now pulling a 15-second penalty.
Yeah, Latsis has to just keep that gap within him, and that'll be his podium spot, or actually fourth position. So no podium spot for Mad Dog, unfortunately, but a podium spot for Max Graf, as it looks like hopefully Casper Minda lets him by down the inside. That was a close call for Max Graf. I'm sure he was sweating there. Justin
Talking about
G.
sweating. Carter's sweat is actually incurred by avoidable contact, which was on lap 22, involving himself and Mad Dog Latsis.
Oh, we switched to
that.
Car.
As we see a car sideways.
That almost ruined the race for Justin G on the last turn. But great job by Justin G coming in P1. Great job in the wet. Marcus Zyman, kind of a ghost driver tonight. Didn't see much of him towards that second stint, but finishing in P2. Great job. Great drive by Zyman. And our unsuspected podium finisher tonight, Max Graf, coming out in P3.
Got Carter Close coming now on the straight, coming into fourth position, with Latsis just only a few seconds behind, coming in fifth position, with Trevor Stade just now coming through Murray Corner in the sixth position.
Yeah, things are going to get a little confusing here with Flaherty in the pits. But so far, Stayed in P6. Gomez, unfortunately tonight, a little lower than he would have liked in P7. Knudsen, again, guys, things get a little weird here. So we're going to defer to ACC. But Rob Ruggiero, great job, great drive, finishing P8.
And we didn't see it on camera, but we had Corkle hunting down Corey Robbins for that ninth position, and almost getting a situation just out of Murray's Corner. But unfortunately, Corkle was only able to amount to that 10th position. But he did pull ahead of Michael Sika to not lose out the position through penalty.
And here it is, our final driver to cross the line. Holding down the line here for the lap drivers. Ezekiel Espindola coming in P12. And unfortunately in P13 we have Brian Flaherty, which tough moments for him, as we saw at the start of at the end of the final lap for him in the last corner, spinning out, but narrowly missing contact there with our race leader. Snetterton was interesting, wouldn't you say?
That was a interesting race. Well, I missed the start. I'm sure Nick was eagerly excited to watch it and commentate for it.
Yeah, I definitely think we had an interesting start where it was kind of slow, very cautious, and things didn't really pick up until that first pit stop, and then things really developed on track.
Yeah, it was really a tough race for G. Unfortunately, pulling that sideways spin, but then making up the position under pits. Not actually pits, but just in the second half of the race, with Carter Close, who was able to get ahead out of pits, and unfortunately just did not have the pace to keep that position. But guys, we are going to switch to post-race interview, so don't go away. We're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a break as we get everything ready, get our replays ready to see if we can maybe go back, catch some of that action that we missed, and talk to these drivers and figure out, how did it go?
All right, guys, as you heard it from Giancarlo, we're going to take a quick intermission, but don't go anywhere. We have our post-race show coming up. We'll have our drivers in here, and we'll take a look at the replays and just kind of have a good time chatting. But for now, stick around and chat. Have some fun. If you're not part of the Sim Racing 604 Discord, I'll post the link. Come in, come join us. It's a great group, and I think you won't regret it. So see you guys in a bit.
I was born in the city, I was raised on its edges. My pop worked his life when it's complex. I found love in its center. If I could live here forever, think it'd be for the better. I love the weather, even though it's fog 24/7. I love the people, this is city. I met all my best friends, and I wanna thank every break. I wanna thank every entrance to every building that I step in this city of mine. I owe you most my best moments in life. See, I fell in love for the first time in Golden Gate Park. I saw my first rap show at Great American Hall. I used to beg my homies for a ride across the bridge to goof off and spend the whole damn day doing whatever we want. Keith drove us down to Ike's place while we roll up a blunt, and me and Jack would get stoney, walk around and get lost. Don't think I'll ever truly pay back all I was lucky to get just by walking through the city. No, I'm a small part of this.
City of mine, how I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine, how I love this city of mine. It never gets me down.
I never really had a place to call my own, so I travel and I roam till I find that. But I'm full of adventure, so I wander and I venture, and it's safe to say that really I don't mind that. I book a flight to try to figure where my mind's at, a spot where I don't spend no money, just some time at. I mix and mingle with the people till I learn a little. I brought some weed and baby, maybe we could burn a little. She said you're funny, I said no, I'm Xavier, then I left. Sun shining, birds chirping, let me take a breath. I'm headed to the city where my chance to make it best. What people like to give a little, then you take the rest. I'm hoping one day maybe I can find a place to rest. I fell in love with life and wonder where it take me next. I like the hustle and bustle, I fell in love with the fashion. I feel the pulse of the city, it's moving me like a passion, and it's mine.
How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. Me and my hometown, baby, we go way back. All the situations, circumstances, still we don't mind. Steady going on, I dance around the street lights. Hey, I know every street sign, hanging around the block like if you are my friend, then you are welcome any moment. Yeah, city of mine, how I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine.
All right, so we are kind of back. I think we are still waiting for a few drivers to join us here in the booth. But so far, while we wait for everybody to get in here, let's go ahead and just get a sneak peek of what happened in lap one. I don't think much happened to really talk about. It looks like, let's go ahead and slow this down just a little more. Doesn't look like much happened really tonight. I think we've had a lot more closer turn ones. I think we might have had a little moment there for Jonathan Corkle. Let's see what happened there. It looks like him and Carter close. Slight touch. I don't think they made any actual contact. But it did look like it almost kind of spazzed Corkle just a little bit. Had to pull out a little more than he would have wanted to. I think the most interesting action here was Kai Berman and Michael Sika. Not a lot really that happened here. Yeah, it definitely looked like Mr. Universe took that line away from Corkle. I think the closest so far that we saw here was Berman and Sika. Probably a little slight tap, but not really enough to really throw anyone off their line.
Yeah, it was definitely a very tame first or start of the race in comparison to previous races. Even at Suzuka last season when it was raining, or when it had started in the rain in qualifying and then dried up at race start, but still fairly tame.
Yeah, same here into what I believe is turn 3.
Yep, that's the Montreal corner, the Montreal sweep, as I like to call it.
Yeah, we got a little more cluster. It looks like A bit of a bump there from Flaherty on nuts, and interesting cut there for Minda. Michael Sika going very wide.
All right, we got about 5 drivers waiting in the wings. I'm going to go ahead and pull in Trevor Stade, who is our start of the race, fairly high up there. But Trevor, who joins us, who started, I believe, in 4th position for the race and ended up finishing 6th. So not a bad clawback after, I think, was it 3rd or 4th lap spin for you, Trevor?
Yeah, I got turned around at one point and wound up like 20th, but that was the most fun recovery drive in the rain. So good. So much fun the whole way through. Not the best result, but a heck of a lot of fun to do.
Now, are you a fan of wet races, or do you practice a lot in the rain?
Not terribly, not a ton. I practiced a lot for this one because I assumed just because there was a chance of rain, that means there's going to be rain. But I practiced for this one a good bit. But I don't know, this was a lot of fun. Snetterton in the rain, I think, is better than Snetterton in the dry. You can actually pass people. So.
And we saw a lot of that happening. Driving back from the back of the pack, were there just a lot of drivers taking it very timidly and just kind of trying to keep a clean race, and that allow you to claw your way back?
Absolutely. Some people are just like taking, like, cars would just take an excursion off into the dirt and be able to make up places that way, and those were the easiest ones. But no, a lot of people were fighting their own battles, and I'm just trying to weave my way through. Don't mind me. Yeah, I think I ended up making 2 or 3 positions just because I filled up a lot of fuel at the start of the race, and then was able to go further after the pit stop and just got clean air. So.
If I remember from our last conversation at Nürburgring, was that you didn't have a lot of seat time on Snetterton. Was that correct?
No, I did not. And then I was also doing something over Memorial Day weekend, so didn't get a ton. I felt like I was prepared. It seemed like everyone else was struggling a lot too, just from the word on the street. But yeah, no, I got enough. I felt like probably shouldn't have spun out on the 3rd lap and wind up behind 20 cars, but hey, happens.
Well, it's always the roughest part of racing, but it's always the most fun where you can claw your way back up to the front. And for your pit stop, it looked like you took a much later stop. You ended up running in first for a couple of laps. What was your thinking through the pit stops? Were you just not going to take tires? Short fuel as much as you could?
No, I just filled up a lot of fuel at the beginning, in order to allow myself to go longer on the pit stop. I just kind of thought to myself, maybe I'll just give myself the option. I could always come in, but it allows me if any shenanigans happened, and turns out that did, so it was the right call. But
awesome. And are you looking forward to Spa next week?
Oh, absolutely. I love the Audi on Spa. It's real nice. We're best friends. Sometimes it tries to brutally murder me, but hey, it's how it goes.
I hear you there. I used to run the Porsche GT3 too, and that was an interesting car for a good season. Well, Trevor, thanks for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and start bringing in some other guys waiting in the wings. Mm-hmm. And good luck to you next week.
Yeah, thank you. Should be fun.
Hey, you have any parting words you want to impart onto all of us and the viewers?
Snetterton in the rain is fun. I don't know why people were not looking forward to this. I had never raced here, so I didn't know we were looking forward to this. But man, this is now my favorite rain track. So, but yeah, good race.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Trevor. All right, as we go ahead and pull in Max Graff. Max Graff, who was our 3rd place podium in the Bentley Continental 108 car. Max, what a race for you. You're able to luck out on a couple of positions there and just keep it clean and and a few scary moments running through traffic.
Yeah, that felt pretty good. And it's like you said, I think it was mostly down to good luck and mostly staying out of trouble. But there were a couple of uh, sphincter tighteners, for lack of a better word, in there.
Now, you're not currently in a top position fight for the points lead, or am I incorrect on that? I don't know where you were.
I think I was down in about 16th before tonight.
That's unfortunate to be that low. However, that's still a good pack, and there's still points to be made up. You definitely earned a lot for being third place in this last race. What are your feelings going into Spa? Are you think you can claw up into the top 10?
Well, that's the goal, definitely. I don't know if it's actually going to happen, especially I've never done anywhere close to a 90-minute race before. So it's certainly going to be a new experience for me, but we'll see. If I can replicate how I did tonight, would be nice to get myself into the top 10. But one way or another, I'm going to be happy. It's my first season racing with you guys, so I'm just going to take what I can get and have fun with it.
That's awesome. And how are you finding the CMR Bentley?
Oh, it's fantastic. I don't know. It just, for me, I've felt out a few of the other cars, but this one for me just has a really fantastic balance between like being able to drive it on the edge and just feeling really stable and planted. It just suits my style really well. And on top of that, I'm not terribly experienced in the hobby. I've only been at it, sim racing in general, for a year and change. So it's a nice car for somebody like me who's not necessarily used to some of the more edgy selections, like the Porsche or things like that.
Probably the McLaren and the Ferrari. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now we do know that the Bentley, along with the Aston Martin and the AMG, they all are able to take the curbs fairly well. Did you find that running on the curbs here at Snetterton, especially with it being wet, still allowed you a fair amount of traction, or was it, stay off those curbs as much as possible?
Generally speaking, I could take them, reasonably hard. Definitely not as hard as in the dry. I probably could have gotten away with hopping over some more sausage curbs if it had been drier, but I was not willing to take that chance tonight. But yeah, generally speaking, that is one of the things I like about the cars. You can be really, really, really aggressive on the curbs, and that compared with just the sheer straight line speed of the thing, can put you in pretty good stead.
That's awesome. Well, it's a really awesome result you're able to pull off and keep it clean and able to get around some of those top contenders, with Carter Close being the championship leader. Trevor stayed running in fifth. That gives him some points. So hopefully you're able to get up there and get in for that top 10 for the last few rounds. Well, thank you, Max. Gerson, did you have any parting words or any questions for Max before we part with him?
How did you keep it on track so well?
I think that was that was again mostly luck. Just I didn't feel like I had enough practice at all, but it happened. So one way or another.
It was a fantastic drive. We were surprised the entire time, looking at Ruggiero coming all the way up back into 8th place from 23. But out of nowhere, we just looked at the top 5, and there you were. And then sooner enough later, there you were in that 3rd slot. And so, we definitely were amazed at not only the consistency, but just how well you avoided pretty much everyone else. Because we saw drive-throughs left and right, but, you weaved your way out of it. So, fantastic job, man.
Well, thank you, and thanks for having me. It was just a good night in general. I qualified well, and then lucked into pretty solid finish. So yeah, hope I can replicate it next week. I'll see you then.
For sure, man. Good luck.
All right. As we part with Max, great job. We look forward to seeing you at Spa. Let's pull in Marcus Zyman. Marcus, who was our 2nd place finisher just in front of Max. And unfortunately, we don't have Justin G in the wings. But Marcus, how was your race? What tumultuous and chaotic set of events.
Oh man, what a race. That was fantastic. It was so much fun. It was so challenging. Fought the car literally the whole time, but it ended up being fantastic. I think the race surpassed everyone's expectations. Just in general, everyone was kind of negative about Snetterton a little bit, and then we had a fantastic time today.
Actually, Marcus, you're
Yeah.
mentioning having a great time. I want to ask your perspective on this. I don't know if you're able to see what we have here in Discord.
Yeah,
but it's
I'm watching.
it's this moment here in lap 10 with Latzes as he got around to take, I believe, that pole spot. What was going on through your mind in that moment there as Carter also and G coming up there? I think that pushed you back to fourth.
Yeah, I just lost concentration for a second. Latsis was consistently like within 1.5 seconds to the 1 second mark behind me. So I was just looking at my mirror at the wrong moment and missed my braking point. So I went deep, and then coming on back onto the track, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't hit anybody. So I was going super slowly and ended up losing a bunch of spots. But I figured it was a wet race, rather safe than sorry with the rejoin.
Great job rejoining, by the way. I think many of us would have made the contact and not only taken us out, but somebody else. But yeah, it's I'm glad to hear your perspective on it. And at post race, that it was a ton of fun. We definitely saw a lot of struggles around the field. So, and even in this moment that just happened to just be here as you were almost by fate. But that's awesome. I think when it comes to sim racing and competing, it's also for fun, and so I think you have a great perspective on it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's why we do this, right? To escape a little bit, to enjoy, and the community here is fantastic. So makes it a lot easier. People on track behave really well, and a lot of the blue flags were handled so well. So that helps that everybody kind of approaches it with the same attitude, I think.
Well, that's really, really awesome drive and just excellent job throughout. Well, are you looking forward to Spa for next week?
I absolutely love Spa. So yes, 100%. That's going to be a fantastic finish and a little bit of a longer race too. So that'll be a lot of fun. It's actually the only track I've done a 24-hour race at. So no practice is not an excuse, because I've done a lot of practice there before.
Awesome. Well, I know that everybody is really looking forward to it as your debut season here in Sim Racing 604. It's been a fantastic showing. So we are just going to be flabbergasted to broadcast it next week.
Awesome, guys. I look forward to it. You guys do such a great job. I watched the last broadcast afterwards, and man, it's awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this for us. We all appreciate it, I think.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. As we finish up with Marcus Simon, Marcus, thank you again. We're going to go ahead and pull in Michael Sika to talk about his race. Let's see if we drag him in here.
I actually believe I saw a couple of Michael Sika moments. Gotta go find him now.
I believe there are probably more than he would like to admit and account for. As we get him in here, Michael, congratulations on your finish for pulling out 11th place from what looked like a disastrous race at the start. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, my goal was to not get hit by others or hit other people. So in the first, I think, turn or two, I shot back like 6-7 places, but I just stayed out of trouble as best I could. And I think enough people got off the track to let my 5 or 6 excursions not be a big deal. And here I am at 11.
Yeah, it was an excellent drive. I think as we heard through all the other interviews, it was quite a chaotic race. There was struggles, as Gerson said, from both the front and the back. As we see the off track of Clarence Smith, I'm not sure if you're actually watching that.
Oh,
but,
yep, that's me right there. Actually, I pulled a great pulled a great move on him, and then about 10 seconds later, I'm in the grass. So hats off to him. Hats off to him for taking it back.
It was a very close call.
It's a great dive down the inside.
Yeah, and props to him for giving the space there. He could have came in a little aggressive, but he gave me space. We clean race, and there was a lot of that out there tonight. A lot of guys were very courteous on the track. I know there was a lot of crashes and slide offs, but people giving space, people being courteous. It was clean out there tonight.
It was an awesome race. Are you looking forward to Spa next week?
I love the Spa track, but I'm nervous if it's another rain one because I'm not quite sure I'm gonna be able to hang on as well as I did tonight in another rain course. But we'll see. Spa's great.
Well, let's hope for a little bit dry, maybe some dry spots in there. It's a little bit of a longer race, as you said. So hopefully we can get a little bit of dry racing and see a little more strategy out of the drivers.
Absolutely.
But we got to start wrapping this up. So we're going to go ahead and just call it right there for you, Michael. Thank you again for joining us. We're going to go ahead and pull in Conrad Downtown Abbott into the booth. And we got Conrad Abbott now in the booth. Conrad, not the position you wanted. 22nd is not where anybody wanted to end up, but you were not last.
I wasn't last. Coming in, it's been it's been a struggle this season. I've never come to grips with the Ferrari coming from the Merc, so it's been a bit of a struggle, but it's still been fun.
That's awesome to hear. Now, had you been racing in the rain? Because we'd seen some timidness from a lot of the people in the mid pack. There were some comments earlier, but before the race, saying a lot of people hadn't driven in the rain, and this would be their first rain race. And the practice server was set up for basically full rain the entire time. Did you put any laps down to get into today's race, to prepare for today's race?
Never had a chance to do any laps. Never raced Snetterton before, and let alone in the rain. So no, I never had a chance. So it wasn't easy, but the car actually felt pretty good here. I had a few spins, few offs, but just wasn't consistent.
Sorry about that. I'm just finishing up a chat. Well, even not being consistent, you were able to stay out of trouble for the most part, which we can't say for some of the other drivers on track. Are you looking forward to Spa?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Spa. I'm hoping it don't rain in Spa. This one, of course, it's a rain track, but I'm hoping it's dry. But I got a lot of experience on Spa, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that one for sure.
If it does rain, or you think you'll have a little bit more prep time? Because there was talk that it might be another rain track.
Definitely going to put some time into practicing in the rain for Spa for sure.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to it to see what you can do downtown. Gerson, do you have any questions?
I don't think Conrad's aware of it yet. But how do you feel about Conrad Downtown Abbott? Because that's kind of what we named you this time around.
You can blame me for that one.
That works for me.
Anytime you do an overtake, we'll be like, he's taking it downtown.
Yeah, for sure.
Although I think tonight, unfortunately, he got past the city limits just a little bit.
Yeah. I ran a few red lights.
Well, awesome. We look forward to seeing you next week at Spa. I'm going to pull in the last one. Gerson, I have to take off. I've got my own race to compete after this. But we're gonna pull in one of the guys we talked about for the most part of having a nice clawback is
Drum roll, please.
Rob Ruggiero.
Oh man, I'm excited.
Rob, I got to take off, so I'm gonna let Gerson take over the interview this one. But excellent clawback from back of the field, and way to go. How was your race tonight? Rob, you there?
Oh, sorry. I guess I got to push this button. Yeah, the race, I started off okay and got taken out on that corner to start. I think I got lucky. The pits were right there, so I went right away. I knew I had damage. It was actually 20 seconds worth. I was just hoping I'd get out before the leaders and stay in front, not have to, let them by and stuff and waste time. Jakey got really close. He got within a second and a half, but then I think he had an off or a mishandle at one point. So it bought me some time. And then he pulled in the pits. I had a bit of a battle with Corkle. And I got past him when he was trying to get past the back marker on the chicane, not the chicane, the hairpin, and actually fed between Corkle and the back marker. So I got lucky there too, but steady pace. I usually generally have my setup for just consistency, not try to get the fastest laps, and usually gets me up to grid. And I'm pretty happy with the finish. First time on Snetterton, in the rain too, so good race.
Yeah, we definitely saw that throughout this entire time. It was a shame to see you fall back into 23, but if you can see this on screen, lap 20. I mean, that was we were seeing that consistently, and we were rooting for you for that undercut as we saw you pit almost, I believe, with 30 minutes still left on the clock. And so to look at this moment here on lap 20, where you're taking, I believe, Corey Robbins for that P8 slot where you finally finished, that I think that shows a lot of your skill. And you were really, I mean, you mentioned the move there with Corkle, and the fact that you're able to do that here again with Conrad Abbott as well to get around Corey Robbins. I think, man, you definitely earned our driver of the day spot, because I mean, it was a stellar drive.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I mean, I'm not fast like the top guys there. I do what I can. But I'm really enjoying this league. A bunch of great guys, and yeah, haven't been sim racing for that long, so just progressing over time.
I mean, I think there's a future alien, you man. You gotta. I mean, we definitely saw that as well in practice. We saw you for the majority of it in P3, and so we were kind of bummed to see you drop down into P6 at the race start. But I think there's more potential here. So I'm definitely excited. Have you heard? I guess from what Lency said. I don't know if he mentioned it when you came in. Potentially Spa might be a wet race. So how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm comfortable in the wet races. Overall, Spa, I don't race too much on it, but it's a good track. So I'm sure I'll be fine. I do miss racing Mike Latsis. Him and I seem to always, go against each other on these tracks, except last week where I got a double stop and go in a row. Screwed my track there. But yeah, unfortunately, I think I would have fought him this race too, but there's always Spa. Look forward to Spa, and look forward to your broadcast.
For sure. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you race. So thanks a lot, Rob, for joining us, and great job on tonight's race. And so, guys, that's going to bring the broadcast to an end tonight here at Snetterton. Honestly, it was an interesting race to watch. It was a lot of fun to see everybody on track, and definitely an interesting moment here at the end. We didn't get to have Justin G join us in the box. But if we look at this final moment, I think this kind of sums up this race. Even down to the last corner, there was just always something happening on track. Even as you can see, 3 time penalties on the board. But for Justin G on the final corner to have to avoid this one final obstacle before the line, I think that really shows a lot of kind of the challenge of this track, and just how stubborn you have to be to really manage the car and keep it on track. But not only that, I think I want to say congratulations to everybody who stayed in the server. It takes a lot to spin out multiple times and continue racing. So great job to all the drivers and to everybody else. And congrats to Justin, Marcus, and Max. Fantastic drives. And so anyways, guys, that's going to bring it to an end. Unfortunately, Giancarlo's had to run out tonight. But we look forward to seeing you guys back again next week for the season finale. It's going to be a 1-hour race this time at Spa. And by the looks of it, it's going to be wet. So it's going to be, I think, even better than what we saw today in Snetterton. So that's it for me. I'm the Mordecai. I was joined by Giancarlo, Nick Glass, and unfortunately, Nick King was not able to join us tonight, but hopefully we will see him again in the season finale. Anyways, guys, this is Sim Racing 604 GT3 Split number 2, Season 5, the Spring League. That's a lot to say, and it is time for me to say goodnight. So we will see you guys next week. Good night.